Hello, everyone, and welcome to my presentation of my new course or my course suggestion. Just a little bit about it. My course, as you guys probably already figured out, has to deal with virtual reality or virtual environments. And so just to get right into it, my course I constructed is an upper division course purely for graduate students only. It's a special topics course within the media, and it's also having to deal with nonverbal communication. So that's just a little bit about my course really quickly, but let's get into it, okay? I'm gonna share my screen with everyone and we're gonna go over the syllabus. All right, so my course is a special topics course. It's COM 1693, and in COM 1693, we're going to be learning about nonverbal communication in virtual environments, and we're going to kind of get into that in the course description. And as you can see, I would like to offer this course in fall, September 2021, on Tuesdays from 7 to 10 p.m. The location is on Zoom, and of course, it's the only section that's going to be offered, so it's section 1. Here's a little bit about me and my info that you can get into contact with me. My office hours are on Tuesdays from 12 to 2 and by appointment. Here is our ID link if you need that, but you can also find it on Blackboard as well. Okay, so briefly in the course description for a special topics course within the media, you'll find that right here on the bottom. And essentially it's an intensive study selected of topics in the media, right? And can take up to 6 units, and formerly it was known as 693. However, my course description for nonverbal communication in virtual environments is nonverbal communication has now become of our daily lives as we propel into the virtual environment. The ability to navigate through the virtual environment has now become a part of our daily lives. In this course, we will learn the theoretical framework of nonverbal communication and how these frameworks have an influence on the virtual environments we navigate daily. We will focus on virtual theory, nonverbal communication research, experiencing immersive virtual environments, and developing our arguments on nonverbal communication and virtual system play an integral role in our particular social environment. So all of that just kind of means that we're going to be diving deep into virtual environments, right? And it could be virtual environments that are like social platforms, and they can also be like interactive virtual environments, right? But particularly, we're going to be looking at like the characteristics of nonverbal communication within these virtual environments, right? And kind of bringing that in together, like all together, and taking a qualitative approach to analyzing these nonverbal behaviors and what we can take from that, right? And of course, we know nonverbal behaviors can be anything from like movements, it can be anything to like speech, or not speech, but in text, right? Like, so determining the text, understanding what that text means, taking a textual analysis of things, or even taking a content analysis of things as well. These are also terms of nonverbal communication in which we're able to implement and kind of figure it out using a qualitative research approach, right? So going on, our textbook is actually a free download. It's provided by the University of California, Irvine, and you can find that right here as long as you click the link. So we'll go ahead and click that link really quick just to kind of see what we're looking at. So it's provided by Carnegie Mellon University. And as I said before, it is a free download. This textbook is extremely useful. So I tried to find as many resources that would be free for everyone, because buying, knowledge is unfortunate, but it is something that we actually have to do. Once this loads, then we will continue. You know what? We're just going to continue on, and we're going to come back to that textbook in a minute. All right. So your required softwares for the class is that you're going to need GoReact and you're going to need Zoom. GoReact is going to be available for you all throughout Blackboard. Zoom is also available for you through the school's software downloads, which are all free currently due to the pandemic. Sorry, there was a fly. Just keep in mind that if you're going to record any type of video, and we will do some video recordings, not very much, but we will do some. If you're going to use your iPhone, iPhones do not necessarily, they're not compatible with GoReact for right now. And that's just, unfortunate, but if you are planning to do some type of video recordings, I would suggest using a different device instead of your phone. So that might be a little bit different. But if you are going to use your iPhone, you need to record it on your iPhone, go from your photos and upload to GoReact, and everything is going to be compatible from computer to mobile device as well. So in our course learning objectives, you're going to be able to define nonverbal communication and what virtual environments are. You'll be able to distinguish among the different nonverbal communication and virtual systems / environments. You'll be able to formulate a research question pertinently answered with data collected on nonverbal communication and virtual environments. You'll choose a topic with the respect of nonverbal communication and virtual environments to research. And so this could be a variety of things, and we're going to go into that into our activity, which is your research proposal. You're going to develop an analytical framework to examine the research collected. And as I said, you can use a content analysis or a textual analysis. Primarily, I would prefer everyone to use a textual analysis because when we do it that way, it's easier to kind of like code the data using qualitative, but we can also use quantitative and count the things that we see within the virtual environment as well. And we can get into that approach one-on-one. You're going to produce a paper arguing for nonverbal communication in the particular topic of virtual environments and why it's important, right? You're going to tell us what your data has brought to us, right? And you're going to be able to present your findings to the class, right? We're going to discuss this all in class. And so our grading scheme is that your participation in class discussions are worth 25% of your grade. And to break that down is that your participation is about 10% of your grade, okay? And your student-led discussion is 15% of your grade. So essentially what you're going to do is that you're going to tell us, this is the approach that you're taking, right? You and another student will also divide the time up, but like you will be able to tell us what you're going to be researching, give us all the information, find some articles about it for us to read, and you'll give that to us like a week in advance, but you'll give it all to us, and then you'll kind of break it down for us and show us like what you're finding and lead us through that discussion and how you found it. And we're going to be able to walk through with you as you show us like all of your findings and whatnot and so forth. Okay, and so your research proposal is 25% of your grade, your data analysis or your final paper is another 25%, and your class research presentation is going to be another 25%. And so here's some participation in class discussions. I'm not going to really get into that. You guys can read that on your own. So your research proposal should at least be 700 words, right? Without your title page and without your references. Your research proposal is going to tell us what you find interesting about nonverbal communication in virtual environments. And you're also going to give us a couple of research questions that you kind of want to find out on that particular virtual environment that you found or that you find interesting. And like I said, the virtual environment can be a virtual system or a social system like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, or it could also be anything like World of Warcraft. It could be VR chat. It could be VR cafe. It could be a number of things, Second Life, any type of like virtual setting is something that we're going to want to analyze and discuss, right? And you're going to come up with some research questions as to that. And we're going to go more in depth into this research proposal as we get into the activity. And your final paper is going to be about 4,000 words without your reference pages, right? So you typically, everyone in this class should know by now how to formulate a final like research paper. And you're going to break it down for us, right? You're going to tell us absolutely everything that like the methodology that you took, the data analysis, you're going to give us some reflexivity on it. You're going to give us some conclusions, further research, any type of limitations, all of these really crucial aspects to what it is to have a research paper, okay? Your class discussion, you will have about 12 minutes, so it's going to be conference style to tell us everything that you have found, what your research is, and why it's so important and what you found fascinating about it, okay? So we're going to do it about conference style, so you have 10 minutes to present, 2 minutes for Q&A, okay? Your final paper expectations, we can get into that as it goes further. So essential programs, as I mentioned before, you're going to need Zoom and definitely GoReact. So class attendance, all of that is going to be detailed here. We have our university policies as well. And let's get down into our schedule, right? So since we only meet once a week, we need to break this down like super quick. So first day of class, we're going to do the introductions, right? We're going to set up research setup, conducting research ideas. We're going to go over the library resources and library skills, kind of go through some brainstorming activities. By the third week, your research proposal is due. And I say this because by the third week, you should have an idea of what the virtual systems are, what nonverbal communication tactics are as well. And we're going to be going over all of the theory and all of that in the second week. And then by the third week, you should already have like a certain idea of which type of virtual environment that you want to tackle on and what you find so interesting about it, right? And we're going to workshop that in class. And then that's why I made your research proposal due on that Sunday after we meet, because we want to do some workshopping in class, right? We want to talk about those research questions and those research ideas, like why do we find it so fascinating, and how is it that we can examine that in a particular and more specific way, okay? So that is when we're going to be doing that the third week, and then we're going to be going over a lecture for a few more. And then on, I believe, what week is this? Third, fourth, fifth, sixth. Okay, so sixth week, that's when you're going to be doing the student-led discussions. You're going to be telling us more about your research, because by this time you should have already done a number of like article readings, a number of different things. We would have been able to go over a couple of things in class together. And so we'll have 4 or 5 weeks of student-led discussions. And then for the rest of the term after the student-led discussions, we're going to allow for final paper presentations. Now, I did this in 4 weeks or 5 weeks, excuse me, because yes, I understand that we want to do it in conference style and have 10 minutes for each presentation, but by experience, it has never worked out that way. And so I wanted to make it into a fashion where if you needed at least an hour to go through all of that data, to go through all of that, those research findings, all of everything that you needed to go through, we would have the time to do that. And I'm sure it's going to be a super engaged presentation. We're going to be asking questions. We're going to ask for examples. We're going to want you to show us like everything that you've discovered, how you discovered it, what approach you took to it. It's just going to be awesome. So that's why I scheduled 5 weeks for that. And then your final paper is going to be due on December 8th, and that's finals week, and it'll be due by midnight. So okay, so that's just kind of a brief of the class in itself. It's going to be super fun, super interactive, super hands-on, and I love that. So it's going to be great. Okay, and so as I said before, here is our textbook. And you can see this, like I said, free download here. It's called Nonverbal Communication in Virtual Systems. And if we can zoom out just a bit, here we go. Super cool, super fun book, easy read, and it's free. So I really hope that you guys enjoy this as much as I have. But it's a great read. It talks about all forms of communication as it pertains to nonverbal communication. So the link is in the syllabus, and you guys can download that at any time that you'd like. All right, and so here is our activity, okay? So as I said, our activity is due on the third week. And essentially, this is going to be your criteria, right? So it should only be about a 2-page research proposal. You should have some references in there as well. And this is kind of like what I'm looking for, right? Make sure you explain the larger context of your research question. Why is it important? Why is it interesting? Why do we care, right? And you also want to explain why is this research question going to contribute to the realm of academic conversations, right? What is it going to bring into the realm of communication studies as it pertains to human-machine interactions, right? Explain the significance of your questions. Give us some background, some culture. What are you familiar with it? Does it have particular impact on you? Is it a personal thing that you're taking on? Formulate your research questions so that it's answered in a qualitative method. Now, as I said before, we can also do a quantitative method. However, in doing the quantitative method, you're going to find a little bit more like pushback than you would find in a qualitative method based on what we're going to be going over in this class. And I say that because in a quantitative method, you're going to already need to have a theory, you're going to already need to have some research, you're going to need to have at least somehow in which you're going to scale the data that you collect. And what I mean by scaling is that using like a statistical formula to be able to gather that information, place it in, and then look at it at more of a statistical scale, right? So if you can't necessarily bring all of that in, which I would say that's quite a bit to take on, I would say take a qualitative approach, right? Take a qualitative approach. We're going to go over thematic analysis. We're going to go over narrative analysis, grounded theory. We're gonna take all of that in, and then we're going to take a look at it all and figure out how it's going to work with your research questions. And as I said, in the third week, we're going to do some research or some workshopping on that. And so we're going to get some ideas from other classmates and see how we can approach that theory. Okay, so indicate the method that you've collected the data. And like I said, we're going to be working on that together. Sketch the style of data analysis you intend to conduct, right? So how are you going to gather the data that you're bringing in, right, from these virtual environments? How is it going to be collected? Are you going to just take snapshots? Are you going to just copy paste? Like, what are you going to do? Right? How are you going to collect this data? And it's going to be a little bit more difficult if you're using something that's an interactive environment like World of Warcraft or VR Cafe, right? You're going to need to record some things, figure out how it's doing it, take field notes. And we're going to go over the field notes as we get closer to the research proposal. Provide details as to what you'll be looking at in the data and explain what you're hoping to do with the story, right? Give us that reflexivity. Give us like, this is what I really wanted to do, but this is what I found, right? And all of this is detailed right here in our grading rubric. So this is the activity that we're going to be coming into in the third week. And then that's going to just really tailor the research that we're going to be gathering throughout the semester for this. And kind of like bringing it all together, making it very like holistic, very like well-rounded. We're going to try to gather as much rich data as possible and do that in the best timely manner. There's no way in this class that we're going to be able to do a full-on study, that we just don't have enough time. But we can try to gather as much research and as much data as possible to be able to have you carry on this to your own study that you want to do on your own time. And so that's kind of why I wanted to do this type of approach where it's, you know, minimal assignments. We're really just really getting into that research and really looking at how we can examine research in a really fun, interactive way where we're always hands-on during class. We're always working on something cool and something awesome. So yeah, for our nonverbal communication class in virtual environments, this is what we're going to be tackling. And these are a couple of things that we'll be doing for our activities. As I said before, our activities are going to be daily. We're going to be discussing, examining, going into virtual environments, going into Second Life together, going into World of Warcraft, anything that we can find that's free and super fun. So we're going to be doing all of that together as a class, working on it one by one. If we do go into an interactive environment, we will stay together as a group, because it is very easy to get lost and very easy to be persuaded. So, and we're going to talk more about that as well. But yes, so this is an overview of nonverbal communication in virtual environments, COM 6093, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. All right, see ya.